try to get reparations, we need to have black-owned businesses. We need to really do our thing. And it's just so crazy how everybody wants to be black because it looks cool, because we're the trendsetters. Everything we do is cool, and we know that. And it's sad that they try to take from us and then erase us from our own culture and everything, our own group, and kind of keep it there. Because even if you listen, I mean, even with like radio and all this type of stuff, you have so much, like the genres have been stolen from us, like country music, like R&B, and I mean we still have R&B and stuff like that, but just like an Adele will get a certain amount of play and a certain amount of viewership rather than someone else who's just as talented, and they won't be looked at the same.
Don's winning awards and Grammys and that, and we don't even know who they are. That shows how little we're integrating society, because we're thinking, what? Why would so and so not get it? Then this Lewis, I think it was Lewis Capaldi or whatever his name is. He's a sick guy, yeah. I did not know who this guy was before that, and also, like, not that okay, looks necessarily don't matter, but he doesn't have whatever they say the look is. We're the ones that always have to have the look, the package. This Don, no, not even combed his hair, and that's one from my beat it, yeah. From Boris Johnson is on TV and Donald Trump's on TV and they're the leaders and they do not comb their hair before they even jump on the... Me, if I go out my house, I've been taught from a young age from my parents and everything, you need to look presentable.
Yeah.
That is in itself is teaching us when you go outside, you have to be this and be that. This guy is running the country and his hair, do you know what I mean? And he's just chatting rubbish. And it's just teaching us, look what you have to do to even work at Waitrose. My guy is running the country and he's, do you know what I mean? Baffling.
Yeah. I think also maybe like to fix it, it's not so much us, but also like the white people who are our age, because they're the ones who are like statistically are going to be the majority. And like you said, they're the ones who are in like high positions. Black people are the minority. So it's about educating them and making sure they know that we should all be treated equally, and like we should all have respect, because as much as because all black people know we need to respect each other and we need to treat each other justly, but we're just not in the position to do it, and we're not in the position to make the rules. So it's about the people who are in those positions learning and educating themselves and being able to understand us and know what we want and what we need and just do it for us. Because if they don't, then we can do it for ourselves, but it's like the whole system is against us, and it's the people in the systems who need to help us.
Yeah, I had that convo today with someone because they were trying to say like, and I get where they were coming from, which is why I was having the conversation. They were trying to be like, we shouldn't have to ask white people, we shouldn't have, and I was like, we shouldn't have to, but what? We're not even 4% of the population. Yes, we do have to. You know, like, if we're gonna, for the next few generations that we're gonna be here, we have to. You know, like that.
Have the privilege to make a change because people didn't listen to them. Protests and stuff, they've been successful here because white people and all these people have been a part of these protests. I feel like if it was just black people, they would have no issue doing crazy stuff. And probably seen over there, they've still been doing a lot of crazy stuff, but not as crazy because it's very diverse now. In New York City, there was a video of two police vans running over people, protesters, backing up. My people backed up, and they went like this, and they ran over protesters, which is so crazy. And like that. People went really crazy about that stuff. Also, I wanted to ask you. I think I asked earlier. Do you guys call police brutality, or police brutality over there, or do you guys have a different phrase for it, or is it just what you guys call it as well?
I think it's the same.
Yeah, like I don't hear it that much though. I hear everybody talking about it, and it's like it's not a phrase. I don't think we like growing up. There was no phrase for it. I'm not gonna lie. Like people will come into school and just be like, "Yo, the feds did this, that," and you wouldn't even be like, you wouldn't have a name. I think America's always been better at packaging and marketing. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you lot went boom name. Like even things like pigs. Americans came up with the term pigs. Everyone else just took it, and you know what I mean, it's like we kind of go off. You guys the show, and you guys, you know what I mean. We all go, alright, cool. That's what it's called. Then we run with it low key because we would maybe have a different name for it, and at the same time, it like when you see the videos from America, you do think brutal. You just
Yeah,
think that
exactly.
is brutal. But like
Yeah.
with England, like with the tasing video and stuff, there's always there's an area, and when I watch it, I'm like, there's always a grey area for people to comment and go, but, right? In America, people that say but, I cannot believe. Like if you watch any of those, if you watch the Eric Garner video and people are saying but, the George Floyd video, any video, you're saying but there's one recently with there was a black athlete, female athlete. You see that one? And the police were just harassing her.
Over
I
there.
can't remember her name. I can't remember her name. I'll try and find it. But if you just type it on Google, like black female athlete harassed by the police, she's suing them now. But it was like it was less grey area than usual, so it was a good example to use because people couldn't see where there was a reason for them to be harassing her. But at the same time, it was harassment. It wasn't brutality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we ours is more harassment usually, and then there's brutality. But the brutality in America is so on show. That's why it kind of feels like brutality. Because even if you do something behind closed doors, it's not like it's just it's an examples being made of people in America. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you get, I might feel a bit of fear when police cars come past or pull over and I'm in a car and that, but it's not. I'm not. It's not that. It's not the same. I might feel like I'm about to be harassed. I don't feel like I'm about to die. You know, like that. Yeah.
Did you all see that video? With the guy at the gas station.
Yeah.
The petrol station. But did you guys see that video? That was crazy. To me, that
was a lot.
at its finest. That's crazy. Like in front of the child, they tased the father.
No.
Well, they tried picking up the child, like, oh, we can take care of you, we can protect your little child, but really?
So crazy. And
That kid's gonna be traumatized from that.
That kid can never trust police now, can he?
Yeah.
and it's like another thing. It's like I don't think they have it here, and I'm sure they probably don't have it there. And this is something that I feel like they need. They need a space for people who have been traumatized by the police. You know, for them to just have a resource for them to talk to, because like you can't talk, you would never trust them again after seeing something like that and just seeing the constant things that continuously happen, and people just don't care. So I think that needs to be like implemented.
Insane, but it's important not to forget that we really, 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 really need more accountability, more justice, because when you're seeing like all these police officers getting away with all these horrible, horrible, disgusting things, of course they're gonna not really change what they're doing because it's like other police officers are now backing up the other police officers who've done an awful thing. They need to be held accountable. That it's not okay not to report that. You're perverting justice now. You're committing a crime there. But it's so easy for the police to get away with these things, and literally, we can't really even start to begin getting anywhere without the justice and reprimanding the people who've done this. Because obviously, whenever you see like people going to jail or doing this, like for behaving in certain ways, you're not going to go and behave that way. But as a police officer, if you've already got those like racist like mindset, all that kind of stuff, or just like that abuse of power, when you're seeing your partner getting away with that, you're going to do the exact same thing. It's going to carry on, carry on, carry on. Because right now it's like the minority of police officers who get arrested and stuff like that, and for the justice to be found, it's the minority. So as a police officer, the odds on you getting away with such police harassment, police brutality, all that kind of stuff are pretty much in your favor.
Not even just getting away with it. Why are you a hero? Why are you
exactly.
Why are you signing things? Why was George Zimmerman going around signing Skittles packets? Yo, you know, like this is what I'm saying. Like the level people sometimes fail to understand. Like, and I know everyone here gets it, but the amount of people that do not understand the level of evil, the level of deep evil, you are signing. You're not even like, you know what? Let me just get this money. I've got away with it. No, I'm gonna embrace the fact that I'm a hero to people because I killed a black child. Because there's no conversation to be had there. That's the thing. There's 100% no conversation. If I see you, it's on site. That's what people have to be like more. I know, and the thing is, the system's already mashed up, so it's like we have all this anger, and we at our age have now learned how to just have this nice conversation where I've got this half smile on my face, and we're all kind of. They can't have this conversation. Nobody else can have this conversation without crying or losing their mind. And that's another thing you were saying about having a place for people that are traumatized after dealing with the police. Black people in general need their own like counseling and stuff, like in the mental health centers, because the PTSD is so deeply ingrained. Some people don't know they have it until these things come out, and then it comes out. You know what I'm saying? It's mad.
And then the way it comes out can then come out in like violence, rage, anger. When you just end up still in that system, and you're in prison, and it's not even your fault.
Just policing, and their stories have gone unheard for so long, and they continue to. If we look at, I know they're probably talking about like Breonna Taylor, but they shot her while she was sleeping, and there's no way that you can justify that story. And it's been, I think, more than 100 days at this point, and there's still no justice for her and so many other Black women, and it's just crazy.
But people are dropping off the movement already.
Yeah, and that's the challenge with the movement, because it's like when we do something, we need to learn how to be consistent with it. We need to understand, just like back in the days over here when they were, I think the rioting and the looting, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's always right, but I think there has to be a plan. And to a certain extent, I do think it has to be done because that's what gets attention. We saw when all that stuff was happening, that's when it was on the news and stuff like that. Protests and stuff are happening here, but they're not really on the news and stuff like that because it's peaceful. So people are like, oh, this is happening. But you bust into a Target and it's all over the news. And what's crazy stuff, a lot of the people that were looting and doing all this crazy stuff, they weren't even people that looked like us. There were people, going against the movement, dropping bricks and all these stuff in different places, and just trying to mess up the movement. And it's just crazy.
Playing global police, all sorts, like just trying to mess. But that's the thing. If we just step away from, it's like we're always in school. There's a group of people that don't like you in your group. And I don't care what you didn't care what they think. Do you know what I mean? Because anything you do, they're gonna see it as mad. And if we learn that at a young age, I don't see how now we care so much. Like I watch the news and I'm like, of course they're gonna portray it like that. Right. I would never think they would be like, look at the Black Lives Matter protest. Look how nice it is. They're always gonna talk about, because they have to protect what's paying them. You get me? All the BBC News, all of that, they all get money from Rupert Murdoch and all these people, and they're against our movement because they're for keeping the money with their own people. If we start to question it too much, we'll start to, all of it leads back to them, and then we'll go, hold up, and then it's anarchy, and they can't control that. And to be honest, if we're honest, the masses can't have this conversation. The masses are eating everything up. So it's still quite a small number of people that are even able. When you find someone in life that can have this conversation, you get gassed in it, and then you end up talking to them for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's rare, and it's like, that's what we're up against. You know what I mean? It's literally us versus everybody's watching this news or reading the Daily Mail and just eating it up. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of, it's disheartening, but at the same time, it makes me feel like all of us here are some kind of special, I don't know, something. Do you get me? So
people like that don't relate to us. So even other minorities who just feel what's passing, they feel uncomfortable to even discuss these issues, and they feel like, oh, I don't want to say this because I'm afraid to say the wrong thing. But to me, I feel like that's as worse as saying nothing, kind of just going by with your day, like this is not an issue. And I think people don't realize the impact of their voice, and that them doing something, saying something can make a big difference, especially everybody has a platform with social media and just who you talk to, and all that type of stuff. And you can change a lot of things by correcting your parents. Let's say you have racist parents, or maybe that have that mindset of, oh, even with Hispanic people, a lot of times it's like, okay, they don't like black people sometimes, even though they really are black at the end of the day, which is crazy, but it's so deeply rooted in their culture and so many cultures. Even in the Caribbean, you have colorism, and that's a whole nother conversation. But that's something that needs to be dealt with in itself.
In
To
America, I was gonna ask, like, in terms of the whole Hispanic, because I would always say it's a weird one, but our Hispanics are like, for me, it's like the Pakistanis. In terms of the next thing, like there's black people in where it's like in the areas that we are, we're quite a lot of the time around Pakistanis, and like they now kind of have taken on our culture slyly as well as you see Hispanics.
when I was there, a lot.
Is that weird? That must be weird as well, because I know like Pakistanis and Indians play a whole different role in society in America, isn't it?
Yeah, it was weird. I remember being at the uni and like dude had on like a do rag. I was like, do rag for? And then he's like, oh yo, da, 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 da. And I'm like, man, I was just very I was very shocked. I was like, this is different. I was like, all right, just don't say the N word because that you still.
Them man say that 10
They do.
times a day. Them man love saying that,
Yeah, Asians love saying it.
That's another part, like taking on our culture. Here they go. Gosh, so are they racist towards black people sometimes? Or are they no?
they're weird. They're just like, you got deeper like this year, and it kind of reminds me of the conversations I see about Hispanics and going on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's a weird mix, and this is pretty much everyone, but they display it the most obvious. They love and copy us. If I see a white BMW coming down the road and I hear Vibes Cartel playing, I know it's a Pakistani guy, which makes no sense. Do you know what I mean? But I just know it's going to be Pakistani now.
But I mean, I appreciate it, like soaking up different cultures and stuff. But be educated and don't. I guess don't.
But that's the thing. They don't like
educate. Okay, like I like this.
Because deeper like this, as black people, if like black families and that, if we don't particularly like other races, we're not gonna have a poster or picture of you in our homes, and we're not gonna be playing your music. What, I don't like Indians and I'm playing Bhangra. It won't make sense. But everybody in your playlist, on your wall, you got Tupac or Bob Marley or something, and it's like we're everywhere with you. We're absolutely everywhere. Your favorite TV show, your sports, absolutely everywhere. But you hate us. Like Pakistanis that I know, with me, they're cool. But generally, about black people, you know what I mean? And I know this because I grew up with them. I know.
They're colored, like they're black.
Because that's the thing. That in their mind, they're not in England and another minority. A lot of them they're in Pakistan.
Yeah,
they've got a base there.
All the families there. They've got like the little communities. If you look at like Darnell and all that kind of stuff, and it's weird because when it's like them saying the N word, is that I don't see where the justification is, because obviously just for black people saying it, it's sort of like we're reclaiming the word and turning it up, like using it as a term of endearment. But now when like a Pakistani person or any
you lied about that, by the way. Black people lied about that term in there.
I know exactly. I know that's just like. But I'm just
saying what we say. That's just what we say to shut everyone else up.
That's what we say, like just for the thing, isn't it? But what is the justification? The thing is,
there is none. Like, but the argument gets too long, innit? Telling everybody they can't say it. You just rather just I'm just gonna punch you if you say it. Just say that.
You know what's crazy? Because it's like I wouldn't think that they would kind of have that mindset because I see that they're discriminated against in the UK as well. Just like black people, like I've kind of heard, even being there, people call people names like, "Oh, you look like this," or say like a lot of sly things that go back to your country, and really ignorant things like that. So it's really mind blowing that they kind of have that mentality when it comes to things because they don't fit anywhere higher in the society than we do.
They're not even in their way of being in society. They're a bit more slick about it and actually appreciate that they are. Because it's never like, from my perspective, not saying, oh, them man don't help in that. Because there's a lot of people, white people, all sorts that do help with the movement. but they're in the council, they're in the government, they're in the police force a lot more than black people are, particularly black Caribbeans. I know that even we've been here for quite a while, but we're not even in the schools like that. If you look at the educational attainment levels, it's black boys and white working class white boys are the lowest. You get me? And it's like that when you see that, you realize we're not. It's either we're not getting into these spaces or we're not being allowed into those spaces, and there's the extra effort. And I think some people try to justify like, well, you lot aren't doing the work, but we know people that do the work and don't or don't get praised, or they're there and then something happens, then they're not there anymore. And in my mind, there's a concerted, like, conscious effort to keep black people down. Everybody has their own struggle, as we're seeing, because we made struggle so popular. Now everybody wants to have their own march or their own struggle. Things that you didn't even know existed. Now people like, not everyone's born with two eyebrows, so now there's, you know what I mean. Now there's equality for one eyebrow people. It's like everybody wants it because we made it look popular and have all these hashtags and we market it very well. Everyone wants to struggle, but who's the people that can't? It's new people are coming with new struggles and then just surpassing black people. It's mad. Like, and then our struggle is just continuously doing these steps, and it shows everybody's watching us to keep us down. And to me, that just makes me go, let me just find out why. Let me find out why, and then in finding out why, you relax because you realize, for the oppression is a blip. It's a very intense blip. It's a blip in our history. When we learn our entire history, this oppression is a blip. Do you know what I mean? We got so much other stuff going on. We're living in this. Do you know what I mean? So soon, whenever this ends, it will be this. And we'll remember when we was oppressed. Do you know, like that? And we'll be back to doing what we're supposed to do, inevitably.
And it's so frustrating, just how deeply rooted everything is to kind of keep us in these, places to keep us down. But I think we're getting closer as just every day of just making these movements and having these black owned businesses and just informing each other. We have social media, so we don't even have to watch the news and be brainwashed, because it's like, okay, we'll go on Twitter and put things on blast, or go on Instagram, put it on blast. So it's like everyone is so well informed now, or has the opportunity to be well informed with a lot of situations. I wanted to ask you guys, what does anti-blackness look like in the UK, and how do you combat that?
Honestly, it looks like it's so, because like you were saying, it's so covert. Yeah, it actually lives almost everywhere when you're awake to it. That's how this whole woke thing is quite. I like the phrase. A lot of people don't like the phrase, but I do like the phrase because it is like you were asleep and all of a sudden you get on the bus, you see it. You go to shops, you see it. You go to school, you see it, and you're like, whoa. Do you know what I mean? You see it absolutely everywhere, and it looks like almost everyone. Do you know what I mean? It's almost everything now. It just looks. That's why you can't get too caught up in it, because you won't be able to live in society. Because now at a job interview, you're noticing things, or someone's made a little joke, or someone said like, "Oh, you know what? I was at Ant Marketing, the call center I worked at, I must have been. I'm energetic when I'm at work, so I'm on a break. I'm just chatting with people, rah rah rah. One of these guys, I've come over early the day before they was asking to put music on. I suggested a couple of songs. So I had Buju Banton in there, a couple other people, and then I had Fall Out Boy in there. Do you know what I mean? Just to mix it up and like a bit of rock and roll in that. Right. And then the next day, they had top trump cards, but I came over. I thought it was Yu-Gi-Oh. So I came over like, yo, Yu-Gi-Oh, and then they were like, I was like, oh, it's not Yu-Gi-Oh. This guy goes, Yu-Gi-Oh, Fall Out Boy. I thought you're supposed to be like some hood guy. I don't know this done, No, like that. What made him think he could say that to me? No, like that.
It's a friendship. God, I can't with these people. They're mad bold over there.
Because in his eyes, if I'm saying anything, he's gonna go like, them ones there, them type of old white men. Oh, but I didn't mean anything, but not like them type. So you don't even bother me. You're tapped, fam. What are you gonna say, sorry?
Because I used to work at co-op. And one thing I saw, they'd always, because we'd get many shoplifters, like all the crackheads and everyone would come in and steal. But when it was like a white homeless person, people weren't like keen, like they wouldn't look. And there was one day there was like a black disabled lady, and she used to come to the store, I think, like every 2 days. So everyone knew her. And one of the employees followed her around because they were like, oh, she's going to steal something. And at the same time, there was a white lady stealing. And no one, three people were following the disabled lady, and no one was like doing anything with the white lady. And I was like, why? And it didn't happen once, it happened like 3 times. And I was just like, you've seen this lady come in every single week. Like everyone knows her. You've been with her at the tills, you all know, and you still follow her just because she's black. And it's like it's everywhere. It's like I feel like every black person has like examples of when they've been told something or someone has done something to them. So it's like if you think about it too much, you'll just be sad. Like you can't really, you shouldn't really like get in that space because it's like, I guess it's sad because most black people are kind of like, yeah, it happens, and that's just the life we live.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's why I think so many people are trying to have got their things to deal with it. Because you want to ask why black people, like, you go to any hood, I don't know, in America it's similar. You have like liquor store, gun store, things like that. Over here we'll have like off license. Then it's all chicken and chips places, things like that. Not healthy food and that. So now, if you're in a single parent household or whatever, your parents are working multiple jobs, you go home. You get home, there might be food there might not be. But before you go home, you go in chicken and chip shop because that's in the area. You might even, if you can, grab a bottle. You're drinking from a young age now, smoking from a young age, all on the block. Do you know what I mean? There's not health to eat healthily is expensive.
Yeah, no.
Do you know what I mean? And then to buy clothes that look good. That's why nowadays I'm happy when I see all my guys and everyone's drippy. I'm happy, but not everybody got there in a good way. But everybody knew they needed to get there because we grew up mix matching clothes from the market. Do you know what I mean? And it creates this thing of, to get somewhere, I'm going to need money. To get money, what do I do? And then it creates this cycle. And I don't understand how some people can't see that, but it's just absolutely everywhere. Do you know what I mean? And as what you say is, you know what? If I could, like, I would, if a genie asked me like for 3 wishes now, one of the wishes, I'd be an old white woman for about 24 hours and I would commit every crime.
Oh god. But no, it's true, like even just try, like the reason why it took me a while to think what does anti-blackness look like, because it's like, what does it not look like? Where is it not actually there? Like, how can you pinpoint what it is? Because anti-blackness looks like people being sent home for having braids and locks in their hair, people being told that they can't act a certain way or do a certain thing, but that thing is automatically stereotyped as a black person. Then that same stereotype leads to you not getting a job, leads to you not getting certain roles and be put in certain positions. Anti-blackness is when you have to mispronounce your own name to be able to let someone else pronounce it easier. Anti-blackness is you having to straighten your hair, not where you kink your hair out, not where you nut your hair out, to fit in a certain place. Anti-blackness is so deeply ingrained in in this system, in this whole like country, in the whole like society, that it's hard to pinpoint where anti-blackness isn't there. That's why it took me a minute to sort of think about that, because I'm now trying to define what is anti-blackness, and it's just like literally everything. It's everywhere. Even like when it comes to no one really cares to pick you into like their like debate teams, any sort of team. But when it now comes to sports, you're the first person picked. Me, I can't play football. Me, I can't swim. Me, I can't really jump. But I'm still the first person picked and everything. I can play basketball, but that's about it. It's sort of like all these stereotypes that when now it comes to music and all that kind of stuff, you're doing great. But now when I want to be an intellectual person, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a politician, I want to be a normal person, I can't do those things. I can't just be my normal natural self. Like even when it comes to like certain, so like my job as like I have like a little side job where I'm like a presenter in schools, and I sort of give seminars about revision tips and stuff, and they want you to look natural, so like less makeup and stuff like that. But even though they say look natural, I know that I can't just go with my natural hair. because then I know that people are going to look at me differently. They're going to think that I'm looking crazy with my natural kinky hair out. So my natural still isn't natural. Even when you see nude colored, you know, like when you're in primary school, secondary school, whatever, and you're drawing a picture of yourself and you have like the skin tone crayons and there isn't a shade dark enough to be you. Even when it comes to nude tights, when I go to a shop and they're white on me, that's not new to me because it's not my skin tone. All those type of little details that
the
play
crayon
on
thing
you.
is so real. Man had to go to the other, you know where it says mud and trees. That's the one I had to go to the skin tone, fam. You know what that does to you? It's bad.
Exactly. Just like even when you look at the connotations when it comes to dark skin or being black, all that kind of stuff, everything associated with that. So just in the name of just like the whole darkness, blackness, everything's just anti-black.
Right.
It's hard to see what's not.
From my experience first, at least over there. I remember one time being in London. It was me and two of my friends, and we were having a conversation. It was like four of us. We were having a conversation, and this white guy comes up to us. I think it's like outside of the club, and he was like, "Why are you guys so angry?" And then my friend goes like, "Because four black people are having a conversation, we're angry," and like went off on the man, and then some man came, and then he was like, "Fuck off, yeah," and just like chased him away. But it was just so subtle, but we caught it like so fast that he was just trying to, I don't know, be shady and just be like that, and just the looks. I have locks, and oftentimes I did hear a lot of people commenting on it or saying like Rasta this white people too over there, and I'm like, yo, you
Yeah,
mad?
they were
Someone tried to actually laugh my life, and it almost went down because I'm not that UK person. I don't know what the energy is like there, but we don't do that. So it's just crazy that um, that stuff is like a thing, and how I guess intriguing it is for other people, and how they I guess sexualize us as well. But that's a whole nother story, and it's just things that we have to deal with and kind of walk through in this life that we live. I wanted to ask you guys, I'm like winding down. Are you guys able to file like complaints against police and stuff like that? Let's say like you were harassed. Are you able to file a complaint, or if there is a brutality, are you able to, or is the family able to sue and do stuff like that?
Well, you know what it is? Police, I think the IPCC are the ones that investigate it, and they're another department in the police. That says, oh, they're investigating themselves, and they happen to find themselves not guilty each time. I would do the same thing. If you could ask me, did you do this thing? Yo, let me go have a look. No, I didn't do it. That's what you get me. Like it's the dumbest thing. So when you see that, you think there will have to be a separate thing to the police force, not connected to that chain of things with the court system and everything else, the prison industrial complex, all of that is so intertwined. Businesses and all that, it's so connected that you think, yeah, there's no. I just look at it and I go, there is a possibility if there's enough pressure by the public to get something done. But even in America, what we're seeing is a lot of these petitions and things, they're leading to new laws being created, and then that's the thing. But it's like, how are you going to create a law so specific to the thing when it already breaches laws that exist? You've killed innocent people. Why are new laws being made? I feel like they're just giving us pacifiers. You get me?
Exactly.
Like even with Breonna Taylor, they passed the law, but they still didn't arrest each other. That doesn't make any sense. And it's just everything is just a mess. Just want to, I guess, conclude this. Do you guys have any like possible solutions and like a closing statement?
I think making if we all, and I think we have the potential to do it, our generation, is create more and more brands, businesses, and institutions that are black, independent black ones, and also easy to, are also palatable. a lot of the problem with buying black or trying to keep stuff in the community is it's not easy to do. It's something you have to consciously do. But most of other things, when you go Tesco, you just go Tesco. Do you know what I mean? So it needs to be as easy as going to Tesco, as easy as Googling, as easy as YouTube. Is these things like I tried to use this new Google that every time you search it they plant a tree, but I ended up using Google again because it's already there. So things have to slowly start to become easy because most black people when they see all this stuff they just think, oh, I just can't be bothered, man. I already got this stuff going on. So if it becomes easy, sustainable, cheaper, etc., proximity, it's right next door, then I feel like our society will naturally start to rebuild itself. Although trying to consciously do it, it can always be broken. But when it becomes naturally and we put it in places where we go, listen, this phone is black owned and also it's the best phone, then we're gonna want that phone. We don't really want to keep buying Apple and these things. It just happens to be the easiest and the best thing. So when we start to figure that out, which I think our generation will, and I think we'll get somewhere for real.
I think maybe just like education, not just like for us, but for everyone, and also for like the white people our age. I feel like it's their job to educate themselves and at least make an effort to try and understand us and our needs. And if everyone learns and just knows what they should do and just has the power to just do it and not be afraid of offending someone because they're trying to help the like black people, and not just black people but like all minorities. I think that's the most important thing, because then if everyone educates themselves, we get into a position of power, then we can make the change that we need.
I agree with those, and I would just say, remain vigilant, remain consistent, remain active, and don't give up. Because this is one of them ones where it's like, it's such a long standing thing. Obviously, even when it comes to like progression and stuff, it's sort of like, the white man had that 400-year head start before we could even begin to do anything. So if people think that it's going to happen overnight, it's not at all. So that's why it's important for us as well to take leadership. Um, we shouldn't be the minority of organizations that are called Stand Up to Racism. We shouldn't be the minorities of the volunteers at the same protest. Like the people who are giving us donations, the vast majority of them were not black. Even now, when it comes to educating ourselves and reinvesting in stuff, look at Africa, look at reinvesting in Africa, learn about the whole of Africa. I'm like a big Pan-Africanist now. Like that's what I've been learning about. We need to be united. We need to not work against each other. We need to stop letting them continuously use this whole divide and conquer mechanism. That's the way that they've ended up in the position that they are in, because they were smart with it and they did use that and it was effective. To us now being in the position that we're in, we can't continue on the same narrative. We have to radically change the narrative. We have to do that. And we can't become complacent. We can't become, oh, you know what, me just doing this is not going to change anything. We can't just think, okay, I'm just going to sign one petition, that's going to be it. I'm just going to share this and not even read it myself. Because a lot of people are now just resharing things and not actually looking at the information themselves. We're not changing our mindsets. We're just carrying on the same thing. If we want real long and like sustainable change, you as a person have to take accountability for yourself and make those long lasting changes too, and be a part of the movement. I'm not saying you have to be the one at the forefront being like this has to do. I'm not saying you have to be the one that has to move back to Africa. You don't have to be the one leading the process or anything like that. But there's something that as an individual that you can do to permanently change how you are, how you're behaving and stuff like that. And we just all need to understand that we are as big of a part of the movement as everyone else. We can't do it without everyone coming together and doing it. One really, really powerful, outspoken person needs every other person supporting them doing stuff and all that kind of stuff as well. We can't just leave it to the proactive people, because each and every person, even no matter how small the changes, you can do something. And it's just important to just carry on and having hope. And even when things sort of look like they're going back downhill, still have that hope, still have that push, that passion, that burning fire inside you, thinking, no, I will not be silenced. And they will try to silence us. They will try to make it seem like, okay, cool, we're going to give you this law. Don't act as if that's enough, because they're going to like give us things to make us lose out of the bigger picture. We're going to look as in, oh, wow, look at this. This petition has now made this law. Don't forget that they've designed the law. They've picked that law for a reason. There is a hidden agenda that we probably won't ever fully know. So we can't now just settle for that and be like, wow, compared to how it was back in the day, we are at such a good place. But we're still not over. The journey has not finished. Even though there might be big radical changes, the journey has not finished until the whole system has changed. And it's just about understanding that and just about not settling for anything. Great, things are happening, things are changing, but still it's not enough. We are nowhere near the finishing line, and people need to understand that, and people need to keep on pushing and think about future generations. We can't just think about us and our kids. We need to think about our kids, and be like, yo, if mad change don't happen now, what I'm doing is gonna have a mad change on like people like 400 years from now. Because even like the first beginning slaves, when they were doing things to start the movement and stuff, they probably weren't expecting to see the change. But now look, 400 years later, it was abolished. So we need to look at that sort of optimism that even though it's not happening right now, even though it might not happen in our generation, next generation, like the big, like finally we're equal, we have to think about our descendants now. We're going to be those ancestors that are like, look, my ancestors stood up against this. Do you know what I mean? Like, we have to know that we want that legacy. We want that stamp in history.
And I so agree with you. I think it's important for us now to build generational wealth. As you said, our counterparts have had the opportunity, 400 years ago and beyond since the beginning of time. And, now we have that chance and we can start doing things. And I'm just so excited because I feel like there's so many people that are doing so many amazing things. So we are on the track of just making so many movements. And I've met people before and they're like, oh, my grandfather was an engineer and my mother was an engineer and going all these people, now it's our turn. And I'm just so excited for that. And I agree that there needs to be, people need to be educated. There needs to be a lot of accountability in so many aspects because, it's so deeply rooted in all sectors, in beauty, in the policing, in the justice system, just everywhere you look. So we are really getting to the root of that. And it's just, you just feel the hope and you just feel that things are changing. So we need that so we can have our own thing and we don't have to, stress about the system that isn't for us. And also, policing itself it needs to be abolished. We need to, get rid of it. And it doesn't mean that everything's going to be all over the place and crazy, but we need to start fresh. But, police, they take on too much. They handle everything. And certain things, there are professionals that can handle certain situations like mental health issues, just domestic violence, and all types of different things. Police shouldn't be at the forefront for everything. They shouldn't be handling everything because they don't know. They're not equipped to handle everything. They're not educated enough sometimes. And like sometimes, with these trainings don't do anything because it's like you can take all the training classes you want of how to not be biased and stuff like that. But if you're racist and you have that mentality and it is in your blood, in your bone, in your mindset for so many years, of course you're gonna act on that. So that needs to really change. We need to just start from fresh, and we just need to have our own thing with everything, and just start creating and just reaching the world that we want to see. And I see it happening from the things that are being created, from the voices that are just being published and stuff. So there is change, and I'm so happy that it's happening. It's going to be a really, really long journey, but at least things are getting better. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. I'm so happy that we were able to, have this conversation. And I appreciate you guys for taking out the time to, discuss.
Thank you for chatting.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us and giving us this platform to speak, man.
Of course. Any last things that you guys want to say before you Yeah, that was just.
Good one.
Yeah, that's good.
Guys again, and we'll probably do something in the future. And it was great seeing everybody. Continue to stay safe and stay sane with everything going on because it could be very overwhelming. So sending positivity and love to all of you.
Back to you, man.